why God secretly buried Moses, and why Satan wanted his body. A lonely mountain stood silent beneath the fading light of the wilderness sky. The wind swept across the rocky slopes of Mount Nebo, carrying with it the final breath of one of the greatest prophets who had ever lived. Moses was dead, but what happened next would become one of the strangest mysteries ever recorded in the Bible. Because somewhere beyond the sight of men, a dispute was about to begin. A conflict not between nations, but between heaven and hell. Why would God secretly bury Moses? And why would Satan himself appear to claim the body? Before we uncover this hidden mystery, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who loves discovering the deeper stories of the Bible, and subscribe to the Bible Project for more cinematic journeys through Scripture. Now, let us step back thousands of years into the final moments of a man who changed the destiny of a nation. The final ascent. The sun was sinking behind the hills of Moab. Golden light stretched across the wilderness as an old man slowly climbed a lonely mountain path. His steps were steady, but heavy with the weight of a lifetime. This was Moses, the man who had once stood before Pharaoh, the man who had stretched out his staff over the Red Sea, the man who had spoken with God face to face. Now, at 120 years old, he climbed the final mountain of his life. The people of Israel waited below in the plains of Moab, their tents spread across the desert like a sea of white. 40 years earlier, they had been slaves in Egypt. Now they stood on the edge of the promised land, but Moses would not enter it. The Lord had spoken this decree long before. In a moment of frustration years earlier, Moses had struck the rock instead of speaking to it as God commanded. Because of that moment, he would see the land, but never walk upon it. And now the end had come. The wind whispered through the rocks as Moses reached the summit of Mount Nebo. Before him stretched the land of promise. The Jordan Valley glimmered in the fading light. Jericho lay in the distance. Beyond it, the hills of Canaan, the land God had sworn to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Lord spoke gently to his servant. "You have seen it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there." Moses stood silently. There was no anger, no argument, only the quiet acceptance of a man who had walked with God for decades. Scripture records something remarkable about Moses in this moment. His strength had not faded. His eyesight had not dimmed. He was not dying because of weakness. His time had simply come. And there on the mountain, Moses died in the presence of the Lord. The greatest prophet of Israel had taken his final breath. But the story was not over, because something extraordinary happened next. The burial no human witnessed. The desert night fell quietly over Mount Nebo. Stars appeared above the mountain, burning like silent witnesses in the heavens. Below in the valley, the people of Israel had no idea what had just happened. They did not know that their leader was gone. They did not know that history had just turned a page. But high on the mountain, something mysterious took place. Scripture records a detail unlike any other burial in the Bible. The Lord himself buried Moses. Not Joshua, not the elders of Israel, not the priests, God. The Book of Deuteronomy records these haunting words. He buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, but no one knows his grave to this day. No tomb, no monument, no marker. The body of the greatest prophet in Israel's history disappeared into the earth, hidden by the hand of God. Why? Why would God conceal the grave of the man who had delivered his people? Why would he hide the resting place of Moses from the world? The answer would not be revealed immediately. Instead, Scripture leaves the moment wrapped in silence. Israel would mourn Moses for 30 days. Joshua would rise to lead the people into the promised land. The story of Israel would move forward. But somewhere beyond human sight, something else was happening. A confrontation, a dispute, a battle that would be hinted at centuries later in one of the shortest books of the New Testament. A dispute in the invisible realm. Thousands of years passed. Empires rose and fell. Kings ruled and vanished. Prophets spoke and were forgotten. Then, in a brief and mysterious verse, the New Testament revealed something astonishing. The Book of Jude records an event almost no one expected. It says, "When Michael the Archangel, contending with the devil, disputed about the body of Moses," the sentence stops almost as quickly as it begins. But its implications are staggering. After Moses died, Satan appeared, not to tempt, not to deceive, but to claim the body. Standing against him was Michael the Archangel, one of the highest-ranking angels in heaven. Two powerful beings, standing over the body of a man. Why? What could possibly make the body of Moses so important that it triggered a confrontation between heaven and hell? Scripture does not provide a full explanation, but when we follow the threads of the biblical story, a deeper picture begins to emerge. The accuser. Satan is described in Scripture by many titles: adversary, tempter, deceiver. But one title appears again and again: the accuser. In the book of Revelation, he is called the accuser of our brethren. His strategy has always been to bring accusations against God's people, to point to their failures, to demand judgment, and Moses had a history that Satan could use. Long before he became Israel's deliverer, Moses had committed an act that followed him throughout his life. He had killed an Egyptian. Years later, he struck the rock in anger. Moments of weakness, moments of human failure, moments that Satan could accuse. Perhaps the enemy believed the body of Moses belonged to him. Perhaps he attempted to claim authority over it. But standing in his path was Michael, and the archangel did something unusual. The Book of Jude says Michael did not bring a railing accusation against Satan. Instead, he said, "The Lord rebuke you." Authority did not come from the angel himself. It came from God, and the body of Moses remained under divine protection. Why God hid the body? Another mystery begins to make sense when we consider the nature of Israel. Throughout their history, the people of Israel struggled with idolatry. They often turned sacred objects into objects of worship. Years after Moses' death, the bronze serpent he had made in the wilderness had to be destroyed by King Hezekiah because people began worshiping it. Imagine what might have happened if the grave of Moses had been known. The tomb of the man who parted the Red Sea, the prophet who spoke with God on Mount Sinai, the leader who brought the law. It could easily have become a shrine, a place of pilgrimage, a place of worship that belonged only to God. By hiding the grave, God protected the people from turning a servant into an idol. The story of Israel would always point back to God, not to Moses, the prophet who would rise again. But there is one more layer to the mystery. Centuries after Moses' death, another extraordinary event took place. On a mountain in Israel, Jesus stood with three of his disciples, Peter, James, John. Suddenly, the appearance of Jesus changed. His face shone like the sun. His clothes became radiant with light, and two figures appeared beside him. One was Elijah, the other was Moses. The man whose grave had never been found now stood alive, speaking with the Messiah, the prophet of the law, standing beside the prophet of the prophets. Together they pointed to Jesus, the fulfillment of everything Moses had written, the one greater than Moses, the one who would accomplish the ultimate deliverance, not from Egypt, but from sin. The meaning of the mystery. The hidden burial of Moses was never meant to create superstition or speculation. It was meant to reveal something deeper. Even the greatest servant of God remains only a servant. The story of Scripture is not about Moses, not about Elijah, not about any human leader. It is about God. God who delivers, God who redeems, God who fulfills every promise. The body of Moses returned to the earth, but the purposes of God continued. And the same God who guided Israel through the wilderness continues to guide history today. Mount Nebo still stands today overlooking the Jordan Valley. Visitors walk its slopes, gazing toward the land Moses once saw. But somewhere in the hidden valley nearby lies a grave known only to God. No monument marks the spot. No stone reveals its location. Only heaven knows where the body of Moses rests. And perhaps that is exactly how it was meant to be. Because the story of Moses was never about a grave. It was about a promise that one day a greater deliverer would come. And when Jesus stood on another mountain centuries later, shining with heavenly glory, Moses appeared once more, not as the hero of the story, but as a witness that all of Scripture had been pointing to Christ. If you enjoyed this cinematic journey through one of the Bible's hidden mysteries, consider subscribing to The Bible Project for more powerful Bible stories brought to life. And share this video with someone who loves discovering the deeper truths hidden within Scripture. Because sometimes the quietest mysteries of the Bible carry the greatest revelations.